Thank you and welcome to Life Through the Lens of Faith. Thank you for joining us this week. It is the 13th of February and tomorrow's Valentine's. Thank you once more for joining this new episode. If you did not catch the first episode in February, please make sure to catch it. Please make sure to listen to it because it kind of like sets the notion, or rather gives you an idea of what we will be talking about this month. The first episode this month was titled The Urge to Belong, understanding why you always have the desire of wanting to fit in. What circle do you belong in? Okay, and understanding that it's not everywhere that you should be, and also it's not everyone that you should be in a relationship with. And you will know that by understanding and studying who you are. What are your ambitions in life? What are you striving for as an individual? That's understanding yourself, and it sets the tone and kind of like gives you an idea of who you want to associate yourself with. For instance, if you want to be a person that saves money, if you want to become a billionaire, then you got to be friends with people that have or are rather producing a conducive environment for you to be able to do that. In other words, you need to be around people that will motivate you, people that will be in a healthy competition with you. I don't want to get so much into that because we're still going to be discussing other types of relationships, but the first episode focused on us feeling the urge to belong and what we do to fit into certain spaces, kind of like questioning the circles that you belong to. And thank you so much for from all the people that gave me feedback regarding that episode. I know many people are being helped, and other people are learning things for the first time, and it's just amazing that we're but rather we have an idea of what it is to live an intentional life, and that's the main basis for this podcast, kind of like understanding why you're living your life the way that you do, and not only for just existing, but understanding that you're here to cause impact and also live every day with intentionality. So thank you so much to those people that gave me feedback. Please do not forget to follow us on social platforms. Instagram, it is at Life Through the Lens of Faith. Also on Twitter. We're still not up on Facebook, but we're coming there. We're coming. And without wasting any time and without me rambling, let's get into today's episode. It is February the 13th and tomorrow's Valentine's. So, yeah. That's what we're getting into. We're talking about relationships, and this week's episode is titled The Prime / Too Young to Settle. I know. And there's so much to say on this episode, but I hope I won't ramble. I hope I'll be able to say everything that I need to share with regards to, romantic relationships. And, it's one of those relationships that have the ability to make you a better person or make you a bitter person. They have the ability to make you or break you. I know people who haven't recovered or who are still trying to recover from their past relationships. I mean, you meet people daily and you hear from how they speak pertaining to relationships between males and females, of course. And you can hear based on what they say pertaining to those relationships, what's their take, and what are the things, or rather the challenges that they are facing pertaining to, romantic relationships. Now, if you're married, please stick around. You might want to throw in your opinions over there, or your lessons, the lessons that you've learned. But if you're married as well, and you're already in this thing, okay, please be sure to check out there's a wonderful episode that Stag podcast had uploaded, I think a week, if not 2 weeks ago. I think I'm going to link it down here. Yeah. So if you're married or you're already in a serious relationship, that's the podcast for you. Okay, this one we're focusing on Why most people find it too hard to settle at a specific age, and also what age is really too young to settle, to say this is the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, this is the person that I'm going to intentionally live my life to pursue, type of a thing. And we're opening with that statement because of, I think, the age group that this podcast is mainly popular to. I think I have let me see, from 17 upwards. I know there's people that are younger than 17 years old that get into relationships, but that just goes to prove, or rather, no, it doesn't prove. Let me just say 17 years upwards, going upwards. If you're not married, this episode is for you. And we're gonna be just focusing on, or rather talking about, what age is really the settling age, and why do we have these perspectives that we have pertaining to relationships. And mostly it is negative perspectives. It is, I would say, scary in the era that we're in. You find people saying things like, don't ever trust men, or men will humiliate you, no women are after money, and all of those things, right? Mainly because of the experience that people have been through. Okay. Also, we are in an era where it's believed that in order for you to settle down with a person, you need to at least have multiple options that you need to choose from. Ever heard the saying, the test driving analogy, that because I believe in no sex before marriage, if we can put that out there. You get people that do not believe in that, and they will give you the test driving analogy that, no, how can you actually buy a car if you've not test driven it? And we forget that we're actually not cars. Hello, we're not cars, so we don't need no test driving. And I think that stems out from being unruly. And we take the age, the young age from 18, I think between the ages of 18 to 20, I'm going to say 25, 26. Yeah. We take that age as the prime age, and we think we can do anything with anybody we want to. We think we can go around investing these small bits of ourselves with everyone that we see as a potential, rather than, being intentional, right, about who you invest yourself in. Sorry. So we go around having these unruly and selfish desires of, not wanting to settle, too young to settle. And it's not being young and free, it's being unruly and being toxic. Okay? You cannot start applying discipline to your appetite when you're old. And this pertains to people that try and have multiple partners at the same time. I know you might be young and fresh and all of that. Sorry, guys. You might be young and you feel, the surge of, oh no, I can go around dating multiple partners. And you wonder that when you're old, you're tired, and you eventually decide on settling down, but you're not interesting to that individual, simply because you've spent your prime years trying to, change partners. You're trying to do so many things instead of investing yourself in one individual that has the best interest at heart concerning your life, and I'm going to say this again. It's not being young and free. It's being unruly and toxic, and you lack discipline. You cannot start applying discipline to your appetite when you're old. You're not a dog. The saying, you cannot teach an old dog new tricks is true. I know you're not a dog, but that statement is really true, because it is hard to unlearn bad habits when you're old. Something that you've done for the rest of your life, and you think that when you're 40, oh no, I'm going to settle down. I'm going to stop being a cheater, or I'm going to settle down and choose one partner. I'm not going to be a serial dater. Chances are you won't be fulfilled in that settling down when you eventually decide on getting married. And also, who said 40 is the age to actually finally settle down? I think that's why then, the divorce rates, the breaking up rates are increasing around about these ages, because you have individuals that have built up, specific behaviors when it pertains to relationships, and you set these up in your prime age. And now that you're old, you think, oh no, I'm just going to settle down. I'm going to settle with whatever. But relationships take effort. They take, intentionality. And the energy that you need for relationships is the one that you're using in, wasting out in your prime years. Look, I might not say everything I want to say in this episode, and I don't want this episode to be long, but in you learning yourself, last week we spoke about you knowing who you should be, okay? You understanding who you are is the key to understanding who you should be associating with. So I'm just going to touch on that part, understanding who you are, because then if you are an individual that wants to be intentional pertaining to romantic relationships as well, you need to know, you need to be firm in your beliefs, and you need to stop going for people that don't have the same approach to relationships. For instance, I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who's going to waste my time, somebody who's still viewing the prime years as years to dilly-dally. No. So that means in me understanding who I am, I know I'm not going to waste my time trying something that won't work out with somebody who's still wanting to be out there. So that's the power of understanding yourself. Knowing yourself gives you, the ability to know who you should be associating with, who you should be deciding on settling down with. I know other people stumble in love, other people, love at first sight, but it takes more than that to maintain a relationship. And this is for people who are intentional at pursuing relationships and pursuing one individual, and understanding that relationships is not just a mere fact of going to dates. It's not about codependency. It's not one-sided. It's not imposing your selfish desires and only being the taker in that relationship, but it's understanding that you're there to meet the other person's needs and your needs being met as well. Also, it's not a business transaction, Look, I don't know, we might just need to touch on this episode again. I don't want this to be too long. I think I'm going to cap it at 15 minutes. But I'm going to round off with this one. There's no age that's too young to settle. And to avoid having every bit of pieces of yourself in many people that you will need to let go along the way, such that you're exhausted, when the right person comes, you're no longer even interested in giving yourself off to that person because of your past interactions or other past partners that have depleted you. Instead of doing that, maybe approach relationships with more intentionality. First, understand who you are and what you want when it pertains to a romantic partner. And just resolve to be a good person. Just resolve to be an intentional person. Just resolve to be an individual that finds what you're looking for and you intentionally pursue it with all your might. I know no relationships where people have made it intentional for themselves to pursue one individual and they constantly wake up with that decision every day to pursue one individual that have failed. I know none of that. Also, someone very prominent in my life usually says, you might love an individual, but it takes more than love to sustain a relationship. So it's gotta be more than love. It takes intentionality. It takes you making a decision to settle down and focus on one person. Yeah, I know how this sounds like. It sounds like I'm advocating for one. It sounds like I'm advocating for just... That's what I believe in. You should be involved in a relationship with one individual. Yeah. Okay, we're going to round this one off there. I think we're going to be continuing with another segment on this specific topic pertaining to romantic relationships. Again, this episode is titled "Too Young to Settle," the prime. We definitely are going to have a second segment on this one because I feel like there's so much to be said when it pertains to to these relationships. We haven't spoken about, hurt in detail. As a result of past relationships. We haven't spoken much about codependency, why it's not really a good thing to be codependent. It's the relationship being one-sided because it's two people in that relationship. We haven't spoken much on being selfish. What do we mean by being selfish in these romantic relationships? Please do stick around. Please do comment, share, and also don't forget to tune in again on the next episode of Life Through the Lens of Faith.